and closing out in Boracay by harassing a surfing instructor and directing his audience to bury the instructor's business in negative reviews. All of it streamed live, all of it for views, and Philippine authorities arrested him before the day closed. What followed looked nothing like any content he had ever produced. His legal team approached Interior Secretary Yonvik Remulla and cited mental health reasons as grounds for dropping the charges. By June 2025, 3 counts of unjust vexation, theft, and public harassment carried a combined potential sentence of up to 18 months. The Bureau of Immigration had labeled him an undesirable alien and a flight risk, and photos from behind bars showing noticeable weight loss circulated widely online. None of that stopped him from live streaming again, this time from inside the detention facility, using a phone he should not have had access to. The institutional fallout moved fast. A warden submitted a courtesy resignation. 2 deputy wardens and 3 other officials lost their posts. And Philippine President Bongbong Marcos ordered a formal investigation into how a detained man had managed to broadcast from inside a government facility. The man who built a career on filmed chaos had now triggered a government accountability review from a jail cell on charges rooted in filmed chaos. Deportation. Aboard a flight to Irkutsk, Russia, arrived on the 17th of January 2026. Permanent resident status in the United States changed nothing, because Philippine authorities removed him on the basis of his Russian citizenship, and his name entered the country's immigration blacklist with no end date attached. Interior Secretary Remulla offered this at his release. Let this be a reminder to all our visitors here in the Philippines that while we welcome tourists and treat them with respect, we also expect them to follow our laws, just as we do when we travel abroad. 9 months, detained, deported, blacklisted. 3 creators, 3 arrests, 3 outcomes at completely different distances from each other, and 1 underlying logic that produced all of them. Over 3 years, YouTube distributed more than $70 billion to creators. The top 1% absorbed most of it, and brand deals, the real income, chased only those with the biggest and most consistent numbers. Inside that structure, the instruction never changed. Be more outrageous than you were last week. Top your previous video, and never give the algorithm a quieter version of yourself to ignore. Doherty planted himself in the middle of a Miami street at 3 inches the morning and told police officers to wait their turn. Detweiler filmed a $400,000 car burning to ash on camera and assumed the paperwork connected to that car would stay invisible. Vitali accumulated arrests across multiple countries over more than a decade, watched each one feed his country's audience, and kept accelerating until a country detained him for 9 months and flew him to Russia. The attention economy backed all 3 of them right up until it didn't, and when it stopped, it moved on without a pause. The views were real, the money was real, and the consequences, when they finally arrived, turned out to carry exactly the same weight as everything else. Doherty's situation adds up to 1 bad night. Detweiler's is a financial shortcut that finally ran out of road. Vitaly Zdorowetsky's story covers 9 months of detention, a deportation, and a permanent immigration blacklist from an entire country. And the distance between those 2 descriptions is what this section is about. Murmansk, Russia, is where Vitaly was born in 1992, and 2006 brought him and his mother to the United States, where he built Vitalized ETV into a channel carrying 10 million subscribers and more than 7.5 million Facebook followers, all running on pranks and stunts that kept finding new ceilings to push through. His arrest record narrates the escalation on its own terms. July 2014 put him on the pitch during the FIFA World Cup final between Germany and Argentina in Brazil. Climbing the Hollywood sign earned him an arrest in May 2016. And 6 weeks after that, streaking during Game 4 of the NBA Finals added another charge. October 2017 produced a 3rd sports venue arrest for running onto the field at Game 5 of the World Series. and January 2020 delivered 5 days inside an Egyptian jail after he climbed the pyramids of Giza. Every arrest turned into content. Every arrest confirmed the formula worked, and that confirmation was precisely where the damage accumulated. April 2020 shifted the register entirely when Miami Beach police charged Vitali with aggravated battery after he allegedly tackled a female jogger and struck her multiple times, leaving her with a cut above her eye that required stitches. A $7,500 bond cleared the immediate obstacle, and he continued regardless. The 2nd of April 2025 is when the formula stopped delivering. Live streaming on Kick Across Manila and Boracay, Vitali compiled an incident list that authorities documented in full, stealing a patrol motorcycle from a security guard, repeatedly swiping a guard's cap, lifting an electric fan from a restaurant and hauling it to a hotel, threatening to rob a woman in public, jumping onto the roof of a moving jeepney, driving a tricycle recklessly through Manila and injuring a rider, trespassing into a McDonald's kitchen. Custody came within minutes. A search turned up suspected amphetamine and cannabis, and a $35,000 bond cleared him before sunrise, though a felony count of possession of a controlled substance left the building with him. 22 years old, in the middle of a Miami street before dawn, telling police to hold on. Cody Detwiler built his online identity, Whistlin' Diesel, around one reliable promise to his 10 million YouTube subscribers. He destroys expensive things on camera, and he does it without appearing to lose a moment's sleep. A Ferrari F8 Tributo came into his possession in early 2023, purchased for around $400,000. And a few months later, that same car sat burning in a cornfield next to a rental minivan carrying only 5,000 miles. I regret to inform everyone that my $400,000 Ferrari F8 and rental minivan with only 5,000 miles on it has recently burned down to a pile of ash, Detwiler wrote in the caption. And mid-video, he dropped, "There goes $500,000. Those 3 Ferrari videos accumulated 44 million combined views, which was the entire point. And none of them mentioned the registration." Rather than titling the Ferrari in Tennessee, where Detwiler lives and where he would have owed around $30,000 in sales tax, the car went under a Montana business entity, a move known among luxury car owners as the Montana loophole, and used specifically to sidestep home state sales tax obligations. That decision trailed him for 2 years before catching up on the 12th of November 2025. Officers arrived at his shop that afternoon, and Detwiler, fully expecting a prank, walked outside and heard, "Mr. Detwiler, put your hands behind your back." 2 felony counts of tax evasion and roughly 3 hours inside Williamson County Jail followed, with a $20,000 bond covering the exit. At the station, a staff member's overheard comment captured the whole situation cleanly. "I've never seen that one before. Tax evasion." His response to all of it was to manufacture content from the wreckage, which at this point surprised no one. A merch line featuring his indictment number launched almost immediately, with a note confirming that no sales tax applied to those particular items, and a full video walking through the arrest went up shortly after. He warned his audience off the Montana registration strategy in Tennessee, kept moving, and appeared entirely unbothered. Here is the detail that gives the whole thing a different weight. Back in 2022, Whistlin' Diesel staged a fake arrest with help from a Georgia sheriff's office purely for a video. So when his real mugshot circulated in 2025, a large portion of his audience called it another stunt, and a booking department worker had to confirm to a publication that he was, quote, "most definitely there." The man who performed an arrest for views eventually earned a real one on 2 felony charges over a car he filmed himself setting on fire.